Hello. Hello, my name's Simon Jacobs. Welcome along to Adventures in Pop. This is episode 14, would you believe it? Thank you for joining me. It's always lovely to know that you're there. Otherwise, I guess it would be a slightly soulless kind of thing, knowing that I'm not really talking to anybody at all. Because sometimes, believe you me, that is what it can feel like. So it's great to know that there is a small but perfectly formed and rather gorgeous audience. I wouldn't change you for the world, so thank you. And actually, look, let's just do this straight away. If you've been enjoying this series, well, I'm ever so grateful. Please think about subscribing and checking out all the music on Spotify and all the other videos, and basically, devoting at least a day a week to all my things. Thank you. It's the least I could ask, but I really appreciate it. Today, I'm going to talk about just two things. One, just very much in passing, and then really getting on to the main meat of today's subject, which is my new single, Night Owl, which is coming out in a couple of days' time. And I'm going to do what I've done before, which is take you through a little bit of, the making of it briefly. And then I'm going to leave you with the full new video, the new exclusive Night Owl video. So that's something to definitely hang in there for, because, it's rather gorgeous. If I say so myself, again, a bit of, deft cutting and pasting from me, and it looks like, money's been spent even. So we'll come to that in just a moment. To start, though, I want to just say that sometimes, when lockdown seems to be, going on forever and ever and ever, and, as we go from, one crisis of COVID to another, it's great when a song comes out that is just rather gorgeous and makes you smile and is just entirely joyous. And that is what I think Bruno Mars and this guy who I didn't really know actually, Anderson .Paak, have achieved with their single under the name Silk Sonic, the kind of band they formed, called Leave the Door Open, and Leave Your Door Open, I think it is. And it's just lovely. It's an entirely upbeat and happy song with no particular significance, except it is beautifully done. It's beautifully sung, the arrangement's gorgeous, it's incredibly retro. They are absolutely channeling their inner 70s. And I recommend you go and check out their video, where it's all very brown, because they're doing that whole kind of retro 70s thing of wearing brown clothes. Everything about the studio is brown, and it's beautifully done. Actually, and one thing they managed, I don't know quite how they did this, they managed to wheedle themselves onto the Grammy Awards a couple of weeks ago. For those of you, who are into this kind of stuff, particularly, like the American music industry, they got themselves at the last minute onto the Grammy Awards, and they performed the song. Obviously, they just released it like a week or so earlier, and they nailed it. They killed it, as they say. They were all wearing their perfectly matching, beautiful brown suits, doing the moves, exactly as it would be if you were watching, I don't know, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, or the OJs, or somebody back in the 70s. And it's exquisite. It's kind of funny. There's a little bit of tongue and a little bit of cheek, but it's really, really very beautifully done. So my favourite single of the year so far. And as I say, sometimes when the days seem to be, rather long and occasionally tedious, you need something that is just light and frothy and comforting, and they have certainly managed that. So thank you. Check it out. All right, let's turn our attentions to my new single. I mean, I almost feel slightly embarrassed talking now about Night Owl after such a wonderful thing that they've done. Anyway, let's progress. So this is the third of my singles for this year, which will eventually, form part of an album later on in the year. I have kind of made a little promise to myself not to release every single track on the album, then release the album and have, and everyone's already kind of listened. Anyone who wants to, they've already got everything. There's nothing left to kind of reveal. So I'll leave a few tracks back for when the album itself actually gets released. I don't know what date that's going to be, and it kind of depends a little bit on how the single releases do. So I'm just going to play that by ear. So this is, as I say, this is the third. And rather like Water on the Moon, Night Owl, you could probably guess it's got a bit of a nighttime reference again. It certainly mentions the moon. And what's it about? Well, it's not particularly profound. I've got to tell you this. It's when I'd written it, I kind of thought, that's nice, I like it, but it's sort of a bit, how can I say this? Inconsequential, lyrically. It's basically about staying up late. Somebody, I think, actually said to me, "Oh, you're a night owl," and I thought, "Yes, I am." So it's nothing really more exciting than that. Lyrically, I guess I'm playing around with the idea of being somebody who literally is nocturnal, who stays up all night and sleeps during the day. Well, no, I haven't quite got to that stage yet, but I think part of this discombobulating lockdown thing is sort of feeling like if you've got nothing to wake up for in the morning, then it doesn't matter when you go to bed and when you wake up. And I've certainly had a bit of that going on. And in fact, what I have found is that in the middle of the night, I have sometimes felt very productive. I've quite enjoyed it, thinking, well, no distractions, no telephone calls. I've done what I need to do for the day. This is kind of my time to sit and be creative if I can, and the night time has been good for that. I think there are people who will claim to have better creative ideas in the middle of the night than they do in the day. I don't know why that is. There's probably some kind of scientific biological reason for that. And if there is, let me know. But it's a time that I do quite enjoy. The solitude and silence of the middle of the night is good, and I think is good certainly for being creative. Okay, so that's it. That kind of is the lyrical content. There's nothing else particularly exciting about the lyrics other than I think I say something about I've been a night owl since the night that I was born. And strictly speaking, I think I was born actually in time for breakfast, so not quite a night owl birth, if you see what I mean. But who cares? It's poetry, isn't it? Then we come to the actual track itself. What I want to do is, I guess, just show you a few of the elements, and then this is where I can go down a bit of a technical rabbit hole, and it may not be that exciting to some people. So I'm going to keep this very top line, but just share with you a couple of the things that I guess, in retrospect, excited me about this. First thing to say is I hadn't looked at this for quite a long time, and obviously in the making of this video cast, I thought, well, I'll go back and just take a look at what I did. I'd recorded it, I'd finished it a little while ago, and it was just waiting to be released. I hadn't gone back to my original tracks to see, what was what. And it was like going back into a room that I vaguely remember a long time ago and finding it's a complete mess. So, all the tracks are all over the place, so apologies for that. So things I'd like to highlight. Well, first of all, it starts with a really good drum loop. Now, drum loops, can be fun, and then after a while they can get just boring and repetitive. Of course, it's a loop, and you put it on, and quite often you just keep it on. This drum loop, I don't know, I do really like it. It's got a kind of crazy. It calls itself a dance drum loop, but it's just quite dynamic. And so have a listen to the drum loop, and then a little bit of drum loop with the bass on it, just from the very beginning of the song. And that's what kind of kicked off, thinking, oh, this is fun. Let's run with this. Okay, that's just a bit of the drum, the bass from the start of the song. I'm not giving any vocal yet. I should say this song follows a very traditional pop pattern. We are talking Adventures of Pop, so this is very pop, which is verse, bridge, chorus, verse, bridge, chorus, chorus, and that's about it really. So there's nothing particularly revolutionary about that, except I would say I don't always have a bridge. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It depends on the song, and it depends on whether it needs it or not. And I think this obviously felt like that was the right way to do it. So I'm not dictated ever by structure. I don't sort of think, right, I must have a verse that's this long, then a bridge that's don't do that. It just is what it is what feels natural. Okay. So when we get to the chorus, there's a couple of things to say here. The thing I most like about the chorus probably is the sound of guitars, and I need to explain this. A year ago, I had only recently, before that, bought an electric guitar. I never had an electric guitar before that, so I was, and I still am, in the process of playing it, learning it, getting better at actually featuring guitar on the track and not thinking, well, the track's good, I just need to take the guitar off now, which did happen at the beginning. So what I did for this is when it got to the chorus, I recorded 2 different tracks of me playing the guitar, and really my challenge was to A, hit the right note, and B, stay in time. So I just about managed to do that, and then what I did is to strengthen it, because it did sound still a little bit like here's a bloke who's just learned to play the electric guitar, and that's fine for when you're doing stuff at home, but I wanted to release the song. I added to it a bit of a keyboard guitar, so a sound that is loaded up in the software, and then I can play it on the keyboard. Now if you do that on its own, it sounds like a bloke who's found a sample of guitar and is playing it on a keyboard. Not particularly authentic. Put the two together and you begin to, well, first of all, you start to get a bigger sound because you've got several different tracks of guitar all going at the same time. They were all doing a rhythmic thing. They all had a bit of reverb on them, so they've got different kind of amounts of echo going at different times. So I had 4 tracks of guitar running concurrently, 2 of which I'm playing, 2 of which I'm playing on a keyboard, and it started to produce a good effect. So have a quick listen to that, what that sounds like, just the 4 guitars on their own. Okay, and then if we add in to those 4 guitars the drums, say, let's give it the drums, then suddenly you've got this kind of driving thing going in that chorus, and I was starting to get a little bit more excited. All right. Okay, well, look, last thing I'm going to do is just talk to you a little bit about the vocals. Quite a lot of vocals going on here in the middle of this track. So there's me singing with, and harmonies of me in that chorus. And then I also add in, as we're going along, a bit more of a backing vocal. You'll hear that in just a moment. But also what I'm using, and I've done this quite a few times, and it is a bit of a favourite thing of mine, and I think to good effect in this song, is adding in a sample sound, actually several sample sounds of singing, of vocal, that I've then mixed a bit of my voice in with and used it to kind of just enhance that vocal thing and create a bit more of a vocal impression. So have a listen to this.
But you don't need to fear me. I'm just living my life in the way that I see best. I'm a night owl. I'll be here until the morning. I'm a night owl.
And finally, I think it's only fair if I just go from the beginning of the chorus one last time and just let you hear everything. Otherwise, you're going to just think, blimey, what is that? So altogether, it sounds like this. Good. All right. So that's the track. As I say, maybe kind of light on the lyrical front, but I have to say I was quite proud of the sound of it and the kind of dynamic of it, and again, I think it's ended up being just a bit different from some of the other things I've done, and I kept coming back to it, as the months went by, thinking, oh, I do like this, and that's a good sign. Well, for me, I have to, I do have to like what I'm doing, otherwise, even I don't play everything to everyone anyway. If I don't like it, it tends to end in the dustbin, and that's the way it goes. That's probably a good thing, though. I think you've got to have some edit somewhere that says, this one's going to work, this one's not going to work. Okay, so then I set about making a video. All I want to say about the video is you've got a little bit of me walking around Hammersmith, where I live. You'll see that I'm at one stage in this, I've seemed to have arrived next to the River Thames. That is what that big river is that you'll see in this video. And it's completely deserted. And I've got to say to you, it wasn't actually that late. It's not me walking around at 3 o'clock in the morning, because it kind of looks like it is. It might have been 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night. It's not that late, but it was absolutely deserted, which for me was perfect. So I was very happy about that, and I just took my phone with me and in a very amateurish way recorded, videoed me walking in moonlight, in street light, and then I've just, as you will see, I've blended it in with some other rather more professional and formal bits of film clip. So that is Night Owl. It's out on Friday. And so final thing, my last single, Water on the Moon, I released it 5 weeks ago, and in that 5 weeks it has done really, really rather well. It over 40,000 streams in that 5 weeks. I've never had that response before, so thank you to all those people. So I'm interested to see if this one can do the same. I simply never know in advance what the reaction is going to be. So that Water on the Moon kind of took me aback a little bit, and as I say, it's great. Thank you, and I wish Spotify obviously would let me get in touch with all those people individually, and I'd be able to just say thank you. But as I think I've probably inferred before on my video casts, Spotify don't like to give you any information at all. So please enjoy the new single, enjoy the video. I'm going to leave you with that right now, and we'll be back in a week with a new adventure in pop. Here's to springtime, here's to night owls everywhere, and you take care of yourself, stay safe, and we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.
I don't want to fall asleep this evening. Oh, I'm waiting for the moon to rise. I get the strangest feeling when the world is sleeping under starry skies, when everyone is sweetly dreaming. That's That's when I get my work done. You might hear me from your window, but I've be gone before the sun. I like the cover the night can give me. I like to hide in the darkest place. You might hear me from your window, but you will never see my face. Yeah, I'm a night owl. I'll be here until the morning. I'm a night owl. I'll be up until the dawn. Yeah, I'm a night owl. I can hear the dogs are calling. Been a night owl since the night that I was born. I can tell when you close your curtain. You like to go to sleep when it gets dark. You know it makes me think you're a different type of person. 'Cause I'm a night owl and you're a morning lark. Do you notice when the storm is blowing? Do you notice when the branches break? You might hear me from your window, but I'll be gone before you wake. When everyone is sweetly dreaming, that's when I get my best work done. You might hear me from your window, but I'll be gone before the sun. I'm a night owl, 'cause in the night I see clearly. I'm a night owl.